Hello there INFPs, I'm here to discuss how your type interacts with other introverted phenotypes. Without further ado, let's get started on this list. The ISFP. INFP and ISFP are very similar types. In fact, these two types both share a common function called FI. However, the auxiliary function in an ISFP is called extroverted sensing. Now let me explain the difference between an INFP's NE and an ISFP's SE. SE is responsible for exploration, strong in-the-moment ethics, and deep analysis on surroundings. That's why a lot of ISFPs happen to be natural artists. Unlike an INFP who might just stay home with their plants next to them, the ISFP is likely to find those plants and adore nature by collecting them. The ISFP shares introverted feeling, which allows them to connect deeply and emotionally to nature, as well as the art that they may discover. So, how will the ISFP interact with an INFP? Since these types are introverted feelings, this means that it can allow them to connect on a very emotional level and understand each other's views and perspective on things, as well as each other's passion for the arts. The sensing aspect of an ISFP is opposite to the intuition of an INFP, but this opposition can be quite healthy, as INFPs tend to get stuck in their minds a little bit rather than actually doing things. The ISFP's SE isn't about being stuck in your own mind, but it's about literally sensing. It may not work like reflexes, but it allows them to pay constant attention to their surroundings, looking for any sort of stimuli around them. The ISFP will remind the INFP to pay attention, and that's just the upside. The downside of this pair, however, is that these types both tend to be conflict avoidant. The ISFP is more likely to lash out, because they may notice things a lot more quicker than an INFP and make quicker judgments. But this pair can definitely work if both sides agree to mature and accept each other. The INFJ. Some would say an INFJ is similar to an INFP, but they're a little bit different. INFJs are fascinating creatures. Not only are they the most rarest type around, but they share this unique combination of thinking and feeling. INFJ's primary function is NI, which is introverted intuition, and their auxiliary function is FE, which is extroverted feeling. INFJs look for something. They look for purpose. They're constantly analysing why us humans do certain things, or why the sun may be out during a thunderstorm. Because of this curiosity, INFPs like to research and sort of create a little world inside their heads of what they think happens behind the scenes. Both the INFJ and INFP are both naturally imaginative creatures, but the INFJ uses this imagination in a more objective way. But because the INFJ tends to be passionate about the answer to many things in life, it's what makes them good counselors, as they have this good balance of sensitivity and reason. So, as an INFP, what is it like being friends with an INFJ? Compared to an ISFP, the INFJ is more likely to be serious in emotional conversation, and they will use their introverted intuition and extroverted feeling to sort of understand the other person more. However, there's a larger margin of a difference between an INFP and an INFJ than, say, an INFP and an ISFP, and that is organisation.
No! God, please, no! No!
INFJs are self-disciplined, and they will clean their room every day, and they will even convince themselves that they will die if they don't do so. INFPs struggle with order, as their spontaneous nature sort of gets in the way a little bit. But an INFJ can sort of help them be more organised, and be sure to never forget the car keys before they leave the house. An INFJ loves their intuition more than an INFP, who tends to love their feeling more. But the both can retreat and get stuck in the loop, but they try to constantly understand everything until all their mind is printing out is errors. Let's say in an INFP loop, like I've discussed in our previous videos, that's an example of an INFP overusing their intuition, which an INFJ can do sometimes, which can get a similar result as an INFP's loop. But what an INFP can do to help the INFJ get out of this loop is not only listening and trying to understand their analysis, but also being emotionally available for how they may react to that analysis. Well, that's it. That's INFJ. Moving on to the next one. The ISFJ. These types are quite opposite to each other when it comes to work ethic, philosophies, the values of life, and how they perceive the world around them. However, these types don't just completely oppose each other, they both share one special value: harmony. ISFJs are hardworking individuals who will never struggle to get a task down and will always try to completely finish it. They tend to want to treat life very simply, not to overlook the details, but to always participate and keep going. This easygoing part of an ISFJ is due to their function SI, which is introverted sensing. But because their work ethic sounds like it lacks emotion, it doesn't mean that it does. ISFJs are considered very empathetic. Compared to the ISFP and INFP, they are more likely to do something with this empathy. Whether that is offer somebody gifts, or offer them a ride home, or anything that comes to the mind of an ISFJ. However, there's a shell that an ISFJ hides in, especially in environments where this sort of emotional support isn't really available to them. You know the main guy from Fight Club? He's an ISFJ. An ISFJ may tend to bottle up these feelings, unwilling to explore themselves emotionally. It may even drive them to focus more on work ever than before, which makes them the type to be most likely to be workaholics. But with this being said, an ISFJ and an INFP can be very useful to each other. An ISFJ may recognize the INFP's lack of motivation and may help them strive to complete tasks instead of lying in their bedroom with their imagination. INFPs can notice when someone is stressed out, and they can use this for when the ISFJ tends to be really stressed and offer them emotional support and remind them how important they are. As ISFJs tend to reject themselves using their introverted intuition, and may reject those feelings that projects on their extroverted feeling. So these types can be a pretty good pair, and is probably the best pair compared to the ISFP and an INFJ. That's it for this video. I hope you all have a good day, and thank you to the people that had subscribed to my channel for the past month or so. It's been really awesome to see lately that people enjoy my content, and I hope to produce stuff like this again. Alright, see ya.